Just because someone is spiritual does not mean that you won't get monkey stomped. You put this person on a pedestal so high that you looked at them when they did something like this and you're like, when in actuality, if we can all be honest, we all have that in us deep down in our nature to react the way that Will did last night if tested and tried.
West Philadelphia, born and raised. Y'all gonna stop playing with Will after today.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? By the title of the video, you know what we're here to talk about. I mind my business. I wasn't really gonna talk about this, but it's a rainy day in LA, as you can probably hear. Excuse the rain outside. When that happens, you really can't do much but stay home. So I thought, why do I talk about the smack that Will Smith, graciously I will say, laid upon Chris Rock. So I'm doing some laundry. If y'all see some draws, don't say a word. So I did not watch the Oscars. I haven't watched the Oscars in quite some time now. I was minding my business, and then I got this chime on my phone from Clubhouse, I think, and it was like, did Will Smith really just punch Chris Rock? And it's Clubhouse, so I was like, I don't know, like something was like, investigate. And my initial reaction to the situation was that it was fake. I was hoping that it was fake, not gonna lie. I was a little riled up, I was a little excited. Why are we like that? Why? When I saw that Will Smith had actually slapped, because it wasn't a punch, it was open-handed, I believe. Hard, forceful, but it wasn't a punch. Neither here nor there. The first thing I thought was, whatever Chris Rock said must have been really bad. Because at that time, I didn't know what Chris Rock had said. I think he has some great stand-up, and I know, sometimes he can say some stuff. Initially, I was like, oh God, what did Chris Rock do? Like, that's what I thought. Because Will Smith is not known to be punching people. Like, if we were talking about Naomi Campbell, or Courtney Love, or Robert Downey Jr., pre-therapy. But it's Will Smith, I don't know him personally. I don't. I've never met him. I do admire him. I think he's a phenomenal talent. Is he the best at what he does? No, but he's great at it. And he seems like an upstanding, human being from what I've seen over my lifetime. And so my initial thought is like, if Will Smith punches you, like I feel like you deserved it. As someone coming at your wife in front of your face on live TV after, you and your marital situation has been on display for the past 2 to 3 years for the public to scrutinize, pick at, poke at, laugh at, are things to look at and put into context. Now, again, I'm not condoning violence. I never think violence is the necessary action when there's non-violent ways to do it, because sometimes violence unfortunately finds us and you have to react with violence sometimes. I'm not saying anything about those situations. In this particular situation, it was more so an emotional reaction. A very calm one, I think a very thought out one, not thought well, but it was thought about, because that walk is a little walk. That walk isn't a short walk, and he didn't run, he didn't have haste. We also noticed that he had like a little chuckle before he got up to go do what he did. But that's the initial, I'm about to go to jail laugh. That's what that was. And then when he saw Jada was upset, his wife, whom he loved and honored and, chose to be committed to before being a celebrity, before being all these other things, he chose to honor his woman. But with all that being said, I don't put myself in those type of situations. At least I try not to. And even as an adult, I've been in a very similar situation that Will Smith was in last night, but not on public TV. Still it was in public. Do you guys want to hear about that? I don't know if I should tell that story. Get this video to 1,000 likes and I may think about telling it. Get this video to 5,000 likes and I will tell it. Only if I tell it in a way where I can protect the other people involved, because I'm not about telling other people's business, even though it involves me. I think there's ways to do that and protect people. It's just the right thing to do, in my opinion. But I don't know about that story. And the main reason why I wanted to come on camera and talk about this whole situation is because Because after this, going through the comments on, social media, which is something that I'm ashamed to admit how often I do that. But one of the key commonalities that I saw was people talking about, oh no, Will Smith is now a stereotype of the angry, violent black man. And hush. Stop. We have to stop saying stuff like that because first of all, Will is a man, okay? We make those stereotypes. Those type of stereotypes have been planted and buried into us for centuries and decades, okay? Like, it's nothing new. We are who we say we are. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you're violent. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you are angry all the time. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you have to deal with these certain things. If anything, what it's doing is it's creeping to the self-fulfilling prophecy. Which basically states that sometimes we project beliefs on people unknowingly with our behavior, words, thoughts, and actions. And when they react in the way that favors our projection of what they are, we say, I told you so. And it's like, no, you wanted to see it in that person, and all of a sudden you saw it in them, and then now you're like, oh, there it is. Or you put this person on a pedestal so high that you looked at them when they did something like this, and you're like, when in actuality, if we can all be honest, we all have that in us, deep down in our nature, to react the way that Will did last night, if tested and tried. We need to give the same energy to black men that we give to other men of color. Why do we give these passes to other demographics but our own? At the end of the day, we're all human beings, okay? And these stereotypes we keep alive if we keep regurgitating these thoughts and not allowing people to express their emotions. Anger is a natural emotion that you will feel in this life. And if you pretend that you will never feel anger, you're delusional. How you react to it is something totally different. Living life as a person who is automatically deemed violent sometimes just because of the way that they look, i.e. a big black man, is exhausting. Okay? It's exhausting and it's daunting and it's tired and it's played out. Gone are the days where people are trying to maneuver around other people to make them feel comfortable about who they are. Like, it's giving inauthenticness. It's giving be yourself, but not all of yourself. Like, I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of that. Sometimes you have to prove that you're a safe black. So there is no perpetuating the angry, violent black man syndrome. We need to let black men live. And as a black man, I endorse that. When you're put on a pedestal sometimes and you have to live up to this notion that you can do no wrong, that in itself is pressure. And it's not fair. Because while you're working so hard to live up to this image or to this godlike status that everybody has given you, people forget and lose sight that you're an actual human being with emotions and feelings who's not perfect and who does up. That whole good little black boy cloud has been popped and burst. And it's like, okay, were you seeing me for me? Did you try to see me? Will you see me as the image that, my career and my life has shown you? Like, what were you looking at to where you're ready to throw me away because of this moment? The point is that we really need to put aside those stereotypical notions because that's what drives our thinking. Leave toxic stereotypes like that where you found them in ignorance and confusion. Will Smith has been dragged through the dirt for the past year or three behind some stupid allegations with his wife, her partner, his sexuality, his private business, and before you say,
well, he's a celebrity, he should know and expect.
No. You're the problem. Just because you're a celebrity and you get famous doesn't mean that it stops you from being a human or that you owe all these things to all these people. It doesn't mean that. You owe it to yourself to make art that you love and share to the masses. And it's our job to either eat it up, not learn from it, enjoy it. That's it. We don't have to know all the other stuff. We don't have to. They don't owe us that. What are y'all talking about? That moment wasn't just that one joke that Chris Rock said then. What if you were somebody that have alopecia or hair loss and I'm not saying that Jada has a terminal illness, but it doesn't have to take somebody having to die. I don't know. Yes, it's comedy, and yes, it's freedom of speech, and I'm all for all. First of all, we gotta stop using comedy as an excuse to just say whatever the hell that we want to say, even though you can. Just because you can say it doesn't mean you should. But I'm not policing anybody. You say what you want to say. There are consequences, and there are consequences to those consequences. And so, I think Chris Rock's response was probably more so,
To me, it wasn't a big deal. Like, but damn, I'm sorry.
as opposed to, oh my God, I can't believe. If you're someone that can recognize when you hurt somebody, even though it's unintentional, even though you don't feel like you hurt them, even though you don't understand how they're hurt, if you can see that they're hurt and recognize that they're hurt, you're more than halfway to where you need to be. Simply because you can identify something that's outside of yourself and it means something to you. Some people want to pull the toxic masculinity card. I get it. I understand why you would say that. In this situation though, I do feel that Will maybe has some undealt with views on masculinity that has the potential to be toxic and harmful. But I don't think in this situation that it was like an overt showing of toxic masculinity. Again, what I saw is a human being having an emotional experience after being provoked. Whether or not we feel that the provocation was worthy or not, that's not our call to make. Just like if you were ever hurt one day, I hope someone doesn't say that you didn't feel worthy enough to feel hurt. You know what I mean? I hope not. Validating and coddling are two totally different things. And we often confuse the two. Validation is not coddlation. Is that a word? Come on, coddlation. Y'all know what I'm saying. Maybe some of you guys haven't really had anyone stick up for you, okay? I saw a man sticking up for his honor, sticking up for his wife in a way that I don't necessarily agree with, but in a way that I can understand in that moment where it came from. Empathy, I guess. I don't know. Will was raised in Philly, you know, where if you had a problem with somebody, you handled it. Like you talked about it, like you let them know. Confrontation is very healthy as long as it's done in a healthy way. Chris Rock's chin will be okay, I think. And if Chris Rock chose to file charges against Will Smith, he was well within his rights to do so. Because at the end of the day, it was still assault, you know? Another issue is that he didn't distinctly apologize to Chris Rock. And maybe he's not sorry. In an emotional situation like that, he probably meant that. You disrespected my wife. Some men take that very seriously. And if you say something to someone who does, you're liable to get punched or slapped for disrespecting his wife in his face. Will was defending his wife. To Will's perspective, he was defending and standing up for the woman that he loved, to someone who he's emotionally involved and attached with, someone who he spent the last, 20, 30 years with, someone who has kids with, someone who has, financial and social ties with, someone who he has invested himself with. Yes, there's passion in that. You will stand up and protect everything that you love. And I will always defend standing up and protecting everything that you love.
Y'all be weak in the knees. Stand up! Stand up!
Always. Even though I don't agree with what it looks like. And I feel like some of you haven't had anyone stand up for you. It's almost like you haven't been loved enough where someone was willing to pop somebody in the face when it came to you. Yeah, I really think that that's what it is. I think that some of you guys may have not really have had someone to really stick up for you in that type of way. And again, I'm not saying that violence is how you show love or how you stand up for somebody, but let's put in context where Will Smith is from, who he is, how he was raised. Like although that doesn't give him passes to be violent, let's be real about who we know him to be, okay? Now, had he would have walked on stage and started pummeling and repeatedly beating Chris Rock's head in, where blood was showing, there we would be having a different conversation, a whole different perspective, right? But I don't view Will Smith as a monster because of this. I think he's still far from it. I see him as a human being who had a lapse in error, just because you really shouldn't be putting your hands on anybody. If it's avoidable. And situations like these are always avoidable, even though they feel good. Will Smith probably didn't say he was sorry to Chris Rock because that felt good for him to do. Even though it also felt awful that he did it. You know what I mean? You have to know to know. When someone has passion for stuff, you can't fake that in real life. See, a lot of y'all walk around faking stuff and holding stuff and keep smiling. You can't really fake those emotions. And I mean passion across the board. Passion for your friends, your family, your close relatives, your loved ones, your partners. Like, that passion is real. And when you, when somebody comes for that, and some people, the instinct is to, you know, like that, it with love. Look, I'm a pretty calm and collected person. I think, you know, I'm pretty rap tight, although some may disagree, but that's their business, not mine. When it comes to certain people and certain individuals that I love, you better believe that you will see, you will see a different side of me. Like, don't play with my mama. Don't play with my blood. Don't play, you know, play with me before you play with these other people. Like, again, I'm not pro-violence. I'm not. Go out. I don't believe just, you know, slapping everybody willy-nilly, although that would be funny. And I'd laugh sometimes. But at the same time, even the kindest person, we all have that sensitive subject. You know, we all have that one topic that if you touch, and that has been being touched for months, years, repeatedly, in front of the world. I don't care how kind you are. Even Mr. Rogers, I would expect to get up and pop him. I'd be shocked, but I would be like, okay, enough. Leave that baby alone. And if you say that there isn't a subject that isn't sensitive to you, that isn't a trigger to you, stop lying. We're not responsible how one receives what we do say and all these other things. What we are responsible for is what we do say, you know, how we live our life. How that person receives it, we don't get to dictate if they feel disrespected. We cannot understand it, but we can still validate their feeling disrespect. I can humbly say that there's been moments where, you know, I probably said some things to someone that probably validated me getting popped in the mouth. And I would have still said what I said, because I say what I say, you know, whether or not I agree with it, you know what I'm saying? I would have handled that situation accordingly. But at the same time, as another grown man, striking another grown man in the face, to me has thick causality, especially if that's not in your character. It may be in your nature, because again, it's in all of us, whether or not you want to admit it or not. Let's look at the heart of the person always first and foremost, and then the action, because actions are important. But so is the heart and the motive and the person in general. Words have power. And it's also alarming how some people can pretend that they don't. Although I do say that when dealing with a lot of people, you can't really take what they say with a grain of salt. What's more harmful? Someone getting knocked over the head for doing something stupid, or someone berating somebody for the way that they are? Which one is the two evils here? Arguably, they're both evil, right? But our words do have power, that although I do believe in, you know, freedom of speech, you have to be ready to deal with the consequences of the things that you say. Because, as you should. And for those who are saying that Will Smith is so spiritually sound and that he's so evolved and that he seems so feng shui, just because someone is spiritual does not mean that you won't get monkey stomped. Please, I have to drive this point home. If there's a point to this video, let this be it. Just because somebody has it together, seemingly have it together, someone who meditates, someone who is calm by character and nature, does not give you the right to test them, because chances are those are the worst monkey stomps. But it just makes me sad that people, you know, will now view him as a monster and someone who is unstable and someone who has these issues because of this moment. That's the part that I don't like about society and how we have this narrow-minded view of life and world, and how we don't give grace and understanding in situations that, if we're being honest, we could get there, or we may have been there, or we can understand, you know what I mean? Human beings, anger is real, it's an emotion. I don't think you're a monster. I still love you. I still watch your movies. I still support you. You're not canceled in my book, or anyone that I know, I don't think. But I could be wrong. I don't think Will woke up yesterday morning and was like, you know what? I'm gonna punch me a Chris Rock today. I don't think he was intentionally choosing to punch anybody that day. I think most good people and most people who try to do the right thing don't intentionally seek out to punch people unnecessarily, outside of boxing and, agreed upon punching. I don't think people really look out to do that if they are, doing their deed as a human being. So again, there's grace. Jada better not ever doubt Will's respect and devotion to her, ever. Stand up for me. Punch somebody for me. If somebody punched somebody for me,
it's like gravity. Your whole center shifts.
I'm yours for life. If I know that you're down for me, like I'm sure that Jada knows that Will is down for her and has been down for her, you have me for life. I'll tell you all my secrets. I tell you all my business. I tell you secrets that people tell me that I'm not supposed to tell. I got more of those. The bottom line is that we all possess the capacity to do what Will did. Again, if you argue or say that you don't, I would say that you're living an egotistical, delusional, bubble dream. Which, okay, do you. But I don't think you're being honest with yourself, at least. We all have the capacity to do what Will did last night. And if you say that you don't have it in you, in my opinion, again, I feel like you're living a delusional, egotistical, nightmare bubble type of thing. The second that you realize that you too are capable of this very human, although erratic outburst when tested and tried to your limits, it is the second that you find freedom from this tainted perception of self and the shackles that you wear from the judgment that you project on others for living their human experience. Wake it up. I hope Chris had some grace, although he is well within his rights to press charges against Mr. Smith. I think everybody agrees with that. I would feel real phony and fake if I got on here completely bashing Will and saying that he's canceled and he's totally wrong for this and that he's a monster and I lose respect for him. I would feel fake as fuck because that's not how I feel, and I don't believe that that's right. I feel like Will's track record has shown us way more than this, 11 seconds of provoked debauchery. Okay? And I think we should take a step back and look at that. And for those of you that are quick to throw him, in that lake of fire, what are you hiding? What personality trait are you overcompensating for that you are so holier than thou? You fake. If this was a publicity stunt for the Academy or for Will's memoir or whatever the case may be, it worked. Here we are. Again, if you want to hear my own personal story as to why I relate to this so much, get this video to a good number of likes and we'll see what I can do. If you don't care, then whatever. I don't care either. Whatever. Besides, I don't even think we're there yet. I don't know if we're there yet. But I'm willing to go there if you guys, So let's talk about it. Was Will in the wrong? What are your thoughts? I want to hear all the perspectives. I don't want to just stick to my own way. I want to hear everybody's perspective. Come with a good argument. Come with receipts. Let's talk about it. Until next time, guys, be blessed. Be kind to one another. Watch your mouth. And, try not to put your hands on nobody. Love one another a little bit better.